and let's recall some of the things we have done last meeting. So far, with the help of God, we're about to finish part 4, right? And then we'll go with part 5. So I hope everybody finished part 1, part 2, and part 3 of the work. I'm hoping that all of you finished all the steps. Let's now proceed with the compositing. So in this topic, I'll be introducing to you an advanced one, which is the node editor. And in this practice, you will be acquainting yourselves with the node editor, because the next topics that we're going to have for Blender, let's say for example green screen compositing and rotoscoping and motion tracking, will be using the node editor. So at least as of this early, you will be acquainted on how to use this feature of Blender. So I hope everybody has this kind of ball, and you finished all of you finished the balls. So we can now proceed to the next part of our practice. Part 4. So in order for you to access the node editor, you have to change your renderer from Blender render to Cycles render. So from the Blender render, you have to change with Cycles render. Automatically, you will see it here. It says use nodes. Have you seen it? Use nodes. For modern Blender, you don't need to do this. Automatically, it will be created for you by Blender. But for other versions, like the one we're using right now, you have to specifically state that you want to use Cycles render and then use the node editor here. So what you will do is press this, use node editor, click this one, and then you will see there is this option. It says diffuse BSDF. Oh, I forgot to write it So for this one, step 13, sorry for that, I forgot to write it here. Step 13, you have to, from the render menu, change from Blender renderer to Cycles render. Okay, so you have to change to activate the node editor. So from there, you will see one button. There will be one button when you change the renderer. You will be seeing one button, and the button says use node. Okay, so from there you will see here use node. Just press the button, press that button, press the use node button to activate shaders. Okay, that's for step 14. So if you will see, if you will look at this, it has diffuse BSDF, right? We have diffuse BSDF. We have plenty of shaders here. We have glass, glossy, hair, holdout, so on and so forth. Later we will demonstrate all of this. But our goal this time is how do we mix different shaders here? The problem is that when we set our shaders using this palette here, you can only select one shader at a time. That's the problem. So if you're going to use diffuse, only diffuse you can use. If you want to use glossy, only glossy you can use. If you want to use glass, only glass you can use. You cannot use the other shaders here. That's the problem when you set it using the property tool here on the right side of your screen. So in order for us to mix or to combine different shades, by the way, shades means the ability of your object to absorb light. Do you remember that? Do you remember that we, on our object before, we have this bulb here, right? This light here, correct? So when you apply shades means it will change the behavior of your object in absorbing light, right? We know for a fact that glass, wood, metals, they have different properties in such a way when light bounces to a wood absorb of the light, correct? And when you shine a light to a glass, the glass will absorb it partly but reflect it, correct? Same with metal. Metal will absorb it little and reflect it. Depending on the properties of the material that you will use, that will show how light is being absorbed and reflected in your object. You have to remember, light, Control Z, the light, escape, the light that you use for your stage here will have two results, either to be absorbed by the object or to be reflected by the object. So depending on what kind of surface material or shades you're going to use in here will affect how your object here behaves. But our point here is, let's say for example, I want to use diffuse at the same time glossy, meaning it's shiny at the same time diffuse, or I want it to be glass. So how will I combine them? So in this situation, we need to introduce another feature, another tool in Blender, which is what do we call the node editor. Okay, so in order for us to activate the node editor, I'm sorry, I opened unnecessary window. So what we need to do is to mix multiple shader slash surface materials, activate the node editor. Okay, so how to activate the node editor? So the step is very simple. Click from the bottom, okay, so in this time we're going to do compositing. Okay, so open the node editor by clicking from the bottom. Okay, you will see it to be from the bottom of the screen here. You will see it here. It's like a cube with a cube here. Do you see my pointer? Do you see my pointer here? So this one with a cube. Okay, let me just write it in here in the Word. Click from the bottom of the Blender environment. Okay, with a cube symbol near which one? It's near view. Okay, near view, or symbol on the left of the view menu. Okay, like that. So click it. So when you click it, select here node editor. Okay, select node editor. Okay, So select node editor and just go with the word. Where's my word? Sorry, I lost it. Alt tab, alt tab. So to mix multiple shaders, activate a node editor. Click from the bottom of the Blender environment and select node editor. Okay, so if you will see, when we activate the node editor, so this is the node editor, and here we do the compositing. Okay, we will do compositing here. Why compositing? We are going to compose. Okay, we're going to combine different properties or different materials and different surfaces for our object. So if you will see, there will be boxes, and each box has its own respective meaning, right? It says diffuse BSDF material output. So if you're going to look at the preview here, you will see here, this is the material output. Okay, whatever you connect here on this box will be shown here in the preview. Clear? This is it. So now we have BSDF. If you will see, BSDF is something like this. It's not shiny, right? So if you want to add another surface material, you can add a new shade by right clicking, by going to add, go to shader, and then you can select in here glossy if you want to add. Let me just note it in the word so that you can use it later on. To add a new shader, click add menu from the bottom screen, then shade, then go with shader, then select glossy for this example, glossy for this example. Okay, so again, let me repeat, add or shift A, you can go with add or shift A, I'm sorry, I forgot it. Click add menu or shift A, sorry. Okay, good. So this is the diffuse BSDF, the default one that is in here. This is the default one, right? During the initial design of your, when you change the cycles render, it gave us the default material, surface material, which is diffuse BSDF. I want to add another surface shader, so I'll go with add, and then I'll go with shader, then I'll go with glossy. So in this case, I'll be adding a new one, right? So if you look at it, this is input, this is output. Remember, the left side would be input and the right side would be output. Whatever you connect here, whatever you put here, it will be shown here in the object. Now, try to connect this one here. Okay, surface. What happens here on the right side of the window? It's changed, right? Correct? It changed. It becomes shiny. If I put this one here, it changed into diffuse, right? But this one, when I put it in here, it becomes shiny. But my problem is, whenever I connect these two here, it disconnects the other one. right? Right? So the problem is you can only connect one at a time for this. So in this case, we need to put another shader, okay, which is the mix shader, to combine multiple shades or materials. Use the mix shader. Same step in. Follow step 16. Follow step 16, but select mix shader. We're going to select mix shader. So what will I do? I'll go to add, same step. I'll go to shader, then I'll select mix shader here. Okay? So when I put it in here, it will connect it automatically, right? So you will see that the mix shader has two inputs, three inputs, one here and one here. Shader, shader, and then shader, surface. You have to remember the input in the surface is always a shader. You have to remember that. The input to the surface is a shader because we are shading the surface. Okay, we are putting a shade to the surface. So the output is a shader. That is why also the input for the mix shader is also a shader. So meaning shader and shader equals shader combined. That's why we call it mix. It mixes the two. So I can put it in here, BSDF here for glossy BSDF, and I could put it in here for the diffuse. So if you will see now the object on the right change the property, right? Try to remove glossy, it will be like this. Try to put the glossy, it will be like that. Try to remove diffuse, it will be like this. Correct? Color is not placed. So it means that the diffuse BSDF provides you the color of your object, and then the glossiness of your object means how much shiny the object would be. So combining the two will give you the combined output of the diffuse and the glossy. We fed it into the mix shader. If you're done with this window, you can now change the view here. Okay, so to see the outputs or to switch the object mode, to switch to the object mode, click in the bottom corner, left bottom corner of the screen of the application, then select here 3D view. Okay, go with 3D view. Go with the 3D view. So try to render, or instead of doing the rendering, you can go with from on this middle portion here of your screen. You could see it here at the bottom, what I'm pointing out, you will see it. Click and go to rendered to see your output. Okay, so this is your object. When you render it, this is the object. Okay, so this is the object when you render it. you go here in the middle, you will see rendered. Just click it. If you want to go back with the solid, this is the solid. If you want to go with the render without running render here, you can have a preview of what will be the render material, render object. Go here, so you will see it's like this. It will be like this. So without rendering, you can see your object output. Okay, without rendering it. To return to the solid mode, just click the solid here, then you can see. If I exit the mode, I'll go to object mode, it will be like this, right? My object is nice, but the problem is what? It has squares, right? Have you noticed? It has full squares, correct? It's like a golf ball. So in this case, we want to remove these squares of the object, like what we have done with the donut. Do you remember the donut? We want to make the surface smooth. We want to make it smooth. This object, we want to make it smooth. In this case, we have to move to the next step. Okay, we can now move to the next step, which is the modifier. Part 5, the modifier. We did it last time with the donut. Do you remember? If you remember the donut, this is very easy for you to do, because we did it in the donut last time. So let's go with the modifier now. So for you to access the modifier, you have to go to the object mode. Go to the object mode. From edit mode, if you are in the edit mode, switch to object mode. Okay, you know this one, it's very simple. So from here, from edit mode like this, from edit mode, this is edit mode, you will go with object mode. So this is the object mode now. Okay, and then on the right panel or palette, you know this already, right? On the right palette, select modifier with the wrench symbol, with the wrench symbol. You know this one, we did it last time for the donuts. So this, you have to select here, this one, this. Do you see my arrow pointing to that part of the window? This. Have you seen my arrow? This one. It says modifier. Click this wrench, this modifier here. Click it, and then go to the next step, which is add modifier. Okay, add modifier, and then select subdivision surface. You know this one, we did it last time. Subdivision surface. Okay, so click this, go with subdivision surface. Click this one. Automatically you will see our ball was changed, right? Automatically it was changed from rough into smoother. But we're not yet done. We have to eliminate these pixels, these pixelated faces here in our object. So you go with the last step, which is adjust the value of the view until the object becomes smooth. Okay, so around maybe around 4 to 6 values you can change. So go back to your Blender, change this to 1, 2, 3. If you will see, as you move the value of the view here, it will make your object smooth. 4 is enough, 5 is also enough, and 6 is also enough. So what have you seen with the ball? What have you noticed with the ball? As you change the subdivisions, I press apply, and that's it. Yeah, it's smoother, right? So when you go with the render, so you will see the light here, right? It's bouncing, right? Have you noticed there is a bounce of light here? Have you noticed this light here on this portion of your object? This is the effect of the glossy surface shader. Without the glossy, when we use only the diffuse, light will be absorbed, not reflected. So in this way, you will now see that our object is changed. See, look at this one. As I move the ball round and round and round, you will see the light is showing, right? You see? You see the light, the spotlight is showing on every surface wherever I move our object. So when I press 0, this is the appearance of my ball with the camera. Now we are ready for the render. Using Cyclops render, go to render, and then render your object, render image, and you will see like this. Okay, so this is now your ball. This is it. So this is your render. Okay, now I want you to go back with your donut. Let me escape this. You can now go back to your donut, go with open, recent, and then go with your donut. But where is my donut? Yeah. So I want you to do something like this with your donut. I want you to do something like this in your donut. 0. Okay, so this is the donut, right? So same thing, I made the shader for my donut, and I want you to do the same. So I want you to do like this on your donut. The bottom part is green and the upper part is red. So I'm having a strawberry donut. Okay, so I want you to do this. Oh, sorry, escape. So I want you to do this donut and do like this. So this is very simple. Actually, it's very simple. You can go with the edit mode. You can go with the edit mode, and then go with the edit mode here. Then you can just pull. You can just have to pull some parts of your object. You can pull them. Let's say, for example, if I want to pull this part of my donut here, you can go with one part, maybe the vertex you can get, then take it like this, then pull like that. Okay, press 0 to show your camera view. Okay, like this. It's very simple now if you want to modify the appearance of your donuts. Same also in the top. If you want to pull some parts of the top, let's say for example the faces, and we go with 0. Let's say you want to put some ice, some chocolate part in on your donut. You can go with the face, then pull some part like this. Oh, sorry. Pull like this here, like that. You can do like this, no? And then also, oh, sorry, 0. Then go like this and pull like this. Yeah. So pull like that. So you can mangle your donut. And then after this, you can change the color here. Let's say you can create another color. Go to your materials. Where's that one? This one. So you have two color, right? Green and pink. So if you want to add, you could add something like change the color.